Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Why, yes, it is. What's up? Welcome into the show, my friends. It is a Wednesday, middle of the week, the greatest day of the entire week. And holy cow, I'm going to warn you right out of the gate. We had our Christmas party today here at the radio studio in the company that I work for, which is great. And, no adult beverages or anything, but I ate a lot. And now I'm in like that food coma, want to take a nap sort of mentality. There was way too much Mexican food, hat tip to our Spanish radio station here in the market that catered this entire thing. And I ate so much food. For those that don't know, I never eat food during the day. I just don't. I eat one meal a day, that's dinner, because I like my head clear. Because I get tired. So I maybe a little bit of breakfast. I don't do a whole lot, but man, I thoroughly enjoyed that one. So if I get a little sleepy and groggy today on the show, bear with me. But I'm not going to, because we are excited. We got so much to talk about and so little time to do it. Welcome into the program. It is The Voice of Reason. My name is Andy Hoosier, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, but on so many great radio stations across the nation, doing our thing. Live. That's right, as we do every single day here on this program. It's also a Wednesday, so what's up, brother?
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
For those that know, apparently he's some YouTube sensation. It is Wednesday, my dudes, and we're ready to rock and roll. Alex McFarland will be on the program at the bottom of the hour. He is a youth religion and cultural expert. We'll have him on. Apparently, the cultural battle during the holiday season never ends. The issue about nativity scenes in public property and prayers at schools, and apparently all the way out in Brussels, there was a beheading of a Jesus statue of the baby Jesus at a nativity scene that's causing an uproar. What the heck's going on with some of that? So we will get to all of that on the program and more. But first and foremost,
what's trending today?
Here's the question. Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. We're actually the time where many stations may be airing this program later on this evening. There's going to be an announcement from President Donald Trump. What could be said then? Apparently, it's going to be the laundry list of all the great wins that he's had for the first almost full year of his administration.
Well, I think the message this evening is we inherited a mess, and we've done a great job, and we continue to. And our country is going to be stronger than ever before very soon. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say tonight. It is going to be a messaging focal point for the Trump administration when it's been really kind of cluttered and clouded from a lot of the drama, the gossip, the tearing apart, the untrust of the Republican Party, the America First agenda, and the conservative MAGA movement that right now is questioning what direction we're going and why Donald Trump's not getting as favorable views, at least according to the media, as what he should be right now, because we've said it before, and whether we've kind of strayed a little bit, taken our eye off the ball at all, that the Trump administration has been the most productive administration in 100+ years. And that is, look, even if you don't like the agenda, you have to admit that it is the most productive. We've gotten more done than any other administration at this point in the game. And in many cases, throughout an entire 4-year administration, he's gotten done in about 11 months. That's impressive. And what could we see for the next 3 years? Donald Trump really trying to focus on kind of rallying the troops, so to speak. Tonight is a way to wrap up 2025. Tonight is a way for the Trump administration to go into 2026 and to say, hey, look at everything that we've done. Forget the clutter. Forget the Epstein file shenanigans, which apparently now will be released at some point, I believe by Friday, by the end of this week, because according to the executive order that was signed by Donald Trump, that the grand jury has to release this information, the Congress has to release this information by Friday. So the transparency's coming in a deep state that we're constantly having to battle left and right on every little thing. The transparency is coming. We've been able to reverse the Biden administration's executive orders for the most part. We're getting energy back on track. We're transitioning the economy. We're getting new investments in manufacturing. We're getting new job growth, as we've seen with 100% of job growth on the private sector side as opposed to the public sector side. There's a lot of big wins right now, and we should be very proud of that.
We did it! We did it! We did it! Yay!
That's something that we should be applauding. But right now, for whatever reason, there's this weird, at least in my opinion, maybe you're seeing it different, there's this weird cloud just kind of floating over the Republicans. And it was, I think, after a couple hits that we had seen that weren't really hits, but they were portrayed as hits by the media and by the quote-unquote momentum of the Democrats in the off-season elections with Zoran Mamdani and Jay Jones and some of these other guys that thought that they have the leadership mindset of the Democrat Party pushing them further towards a socialist utopia. Then we have the whole government shutdown where we did the right thing, and I applaud Republicans for standing their ground on the government shutdown, not cowering to the Obamacare subsidies, but yet Republicans continue to struggle with messaging on the health care issue when premiums are about to go up for those on Obamacare by the end of this year in just a couple weeks. So we have some things to work on, and the number one issue, for whatever reason, even though we have podcasting, even though we have talk radio, even though we have the most transparent administration, personally, I know I'm a millennial, so I haven't been around the block quite as long, but the most transparent administration I've ever seen in politics, we continue to have a messaging problem of why Republicans are winning and what we're doing and the progress that we've seen. 2 million illegal aliens either being deported from ICE or self-deporting because of criminal activity. That's a big thing. Closing down the border with 0 illegal entries. Why are we not making this a mainstream talking point? What's going on? So I think tonight it sounds like Trump is going to be focusing on all the wins that he's had and all the victories that we've seen for the past year and what we get to look forward to next year, especially going into a midterm season of 2026. Now, Democrats obviously trying to scoop him and get out in front of the public before Donald Trump does tonight, as Mr. Chuck Schumer made a press statement today saying there have been no wins for the Trump administration.
Donald Trump tonight is going to try to talk about his accomplishments, but it's going to be a very short speech because Donald Trump calls affordability a hoax. He gives himself an A+++ on the economy, as Professor Warren said. Everyone would like to self-grade in her classes, too. Yeah. But if there were an objective grader, it would be F on energy, F on housing, F on groceries, F on health care, F on tariffs, which leads to a final grade of F.
Yeah, okay, so that's Chuck Schumer. Hey, guess what, Chucky? I can smell your desperation because you guys want to try and get out there and do your media hit before Donald Trump does. Why? Because you don't have a platform right now. You have no ideas on how to get anything back on track except for let's go back to doing things the way they were done before, which is 0 transparency, really large administrative and bureaucratic agencies, lots of tax money going into corrupt systems and getting nothing accomplished whatsoever except for more taxes, more regulatory burden, and a slowing down of the economy. I mean, that was the Democrat platform. I guess that's what they want to go back to, but none of that's true. What did they say? F on energy? We had the lowest gas prices in 4 years. Average price of gas right now at $2.90 nationwide, the first time under $3 since the Trump administration, the first time round, right? What else did he say?
It would be F on energy.
Nope.
F on housing.
Housing. We've had 11 months. What exactly are we supposed to do with housing when we're trying to deregulate the industry to allow people to actually build homes? I mean, could be wrong. I'm not a construction expert. Maybe some of the contractors out there could help me out. I'm pretty sure it takes more than, let's say, 6 months to get a house up and going or multiple houses in a community up and going for people to buy. Could be wrong there, but, it's immediate gratification, right?
F on groceries.
We'd have prices that are coming down. Egg prices are back to where they were. We're getting there. The fact that gas prices are lower means that transportation is going to be lower, which means prices will get back on track. That's pretty good news.
F on health care, okay. F on tariffs.
All right, so that's ridiculous across the board. The desperation's there. Of course, they have to do their hit. It's expected, whatever. But that's probably why Democrats right now, according to the latest nationwide AP polls, that show that the Democrats in Congress have an 18% approval rating. And I'm pretty sure, again, I'm not very good with numbers. I never graduated college. Pretty sure 18% is an F. That's an F minus. Taking it to a whole new level. All right. Outside of the announcement from President Donald Trump tonight, there's another big issue I've been itching to talk about, and it's apparently going to happen today, tomorrow, by the end of the week. I'm not really sure.
What's trending today?
But as we talk about messaging from the Republicans, we kind of need to figure out the platform on this issue. And I get it. Republicans are a wide umbrella. We have a lot of different opinions, and I applaud that. We encourage having different ideas. But the party itself is beginning to change pretty dramatically. And there's a lot of divisiveness even within the Republican ranks on this issue. And that is apparently the headline that we've seen now that the Trump administration And they keep changing the date. It was going to happen Friday last week. Then we heard it was going to happen today on Wednesday. Now, according to CNN, it's going to happen tomorrow on Thursday. Another headline said it's going to happen at some point before the end of the week. But this one hat tip to CNN on this story. President Trump expected to sign an executive order on Thursday, tomorrow, that would reschedule marijuana to a lower drug classification.
Say what?
I know. That's already, all the flags are going up. Everybody's like, wait a second, what? Yeah, this is happening. And if this happens, this is probably, whether you like it or dislike it, agree or disagree, probably one of the biggest changes that is one of the most popular topics that we've seen in a very long time. This is a big, drastic move. And if you don't understand the ramifications, good or bad, of what's going to happen here, I don't quite know that you understand the difference of what's going to happen. According to the report, we're going to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug. As a Schedule 1, that's like the peak top thing. It's like the worst drug possibly for you. It's completely evil. You should never go around it at all whatsoever. Kind of like an Eddie Eagle program for kids. You know, if you see the gun, don't touch it. Leave it on the ground. Go tell an adult. That's kind of where we're at with Schedule 1 drugs for marijuana. If you see marijuana, leave it there. Go tell an adult and, you know, get rid of the devil's lettuce because it's going to kill you and probably going to corrupt you for the rest of your life, right? That's where
We're all gonna die because of you!
That's kind of where we're at with the drug scheduling right now for marijuana. Is that necessary? In my opinion, no, that is completely absurd. Completely absurd. You can take that as you will. I know that's a controversial statement. I look forward to hearing your emails, which you can send at HoosierReason.com. Now, going from there, the Schedule 1 that says that essentially marijuana means that has no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, which is not true, to a Schedule 3. Now, the argument that we've heard against this from many Republicans and conservatives is, well, it's a gateway drug to harder drugs, and there's no study whatsoever that proves that marijuana has actually any medical benefits whatsoever. The reason there's no studies that shows that marijuana has no medical benefits whatsoever is because it's a Schedule 1, meaning that you're not allowed to research it to see even if there is any medical properties to it whatsoever, because it's a Schedule 1. So it's kind of the runaround that you get in politics. Well, there's no study to prove that it's any good, but there's no study that there's any good because you're not allowed to study it because it's a Schedule 1. Kind of stupid. So scheduling it down to a Schedule 3 means that you are allowed to research it to see if there's any medical purposes or any benefit to it whatsoever. It also says that that's redefining the drug to a, quote, moderate to low potential for any type of physical or physiological dependence in some way, shape, or form. It also allows, and just to think and get it outside of the box, if you're concerned or unaware or up in the air on this issue, scheduling it to a Schedule 3 means that businesses around the nation with states that have legalized the product means that these dispensaries, these shops, are now allowed to actually hold bank accounts, which means it's not completely underground, which means these businesses that are already selling it at a statewide level don't have to stick tens of thousands of dollars under their mattresses because they're not allowed to open up bank accounts because right now it's a Schedule 1 drug. That they can open up bank accounts. We can regulate it better. We can oversee what products are in the store so it's not a bunch of fly-by-night people with underground grows and farms that are selling it that have way higher THC levels that could harm individuals. In my opinion, this does not legalize marijuana, but it does change how we look at marijuana across the nation. And in my opinion, again, it's a very, very good move. And if Trump is able to do this, if he does it today, if he does it tomorrow, if he does it Friday before the end of the week, whatever it is, this is going to take away another major campaign platform the Democrats have been railing on for years, and Republicans and Donald Trump are going to swipe it right underneath them, and it's going to be a big victory for us going into midterms.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. When reason meets radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Today I'm taking one more step to protect Americans from the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country. With this historic executive order I will sign today, we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. So we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
All right, so President Trump making that announcement, going after fentanyl, going after the drug war, and I know what you were thinking, saying, wait a second, Andy, we're cracking down on other drugs, but we're wanting to reschedule and reclassify marijuana in the nation. Interesting conversation, and again, you may disagree with me wholeheartedly. I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on this. It's a heavy one. There are 3 states in the nation right now, Kansas, where I'm hailing from with my flagship station being one of them, that have not touched marijuana on a medical or recreational basis at all. So obviously it's been a more popular issue, and the dynamic of where this issue is, especially for those within the Republican Party, continues to change and deepen with the younger generation really wanting to look at this issue. We'll get back to that in just a moment. I want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. As you know, going into 250 years of this nation, I am so excited. We're 2 weeks away. It's going to be a year celebration all year long with us here on the show and with our friends at Americans for Prosperity. They have their campaign going, which I want you to go to the website, takeonesmallstep.com. Takeonesmallstep.com. Learn about the real history of this nation with real Americans rising up to face the challenges of their time and make America great and what it is today with takeonesmallstep.com and our friends over at Americans for Prosperity. So the issue of marijuana, it's not going to go away anytime soon, and it's going to be, I think, something that Republicans, again, I like the white umbrella, I like the difference of opinions that we have, but regardless of where we stand on it, we're going to have some type of resounding stance one way or the other as a party on where we go here. Democrats have already made their choice. They want it. They want to legalize it more. They want to declassify it more, and they've kind of hoped that, not because they really want it, per se, let's be honest. I mean, it's really more of a political game for them. It's not because they care, but it's really because they're trying to win over the younger generation. Now, for us, on conservatives, we're kind of back and forth. And I'll be honest with you, I've done it before. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I don't like how it makes me feel. I don't use it. I haven't in a long time. But I don't care. As conservatives, and we talk about it on the show quite a bit, there are 3 pillars of conservatism that we stand on this show. And that is the right to life, liberty, and private property. If you are not harming anybody else and violating their life, you're not violating their individual sovereignty and their liberties, and you're not violating their private property, I don't care what you do. I really don't. We just don't care. And I think most conservatives that believe in limited government stand for that issue as well, because what you do with your life, I don't care. I don't care.
We don't care anymore.
And that's where we are. Now, you can talk about the gateway drug to harder drugs, and that's kind of a cop-out argument as well, because, well, you know, drinking a beer can lead to heavier alcohol and can lead to blackouts. So, you know, there's every argument that we try to defend alcohol for, we can make the same arguments for marijuana for. So it's really kind of a hypocritical stance to say one's allowed, one's not allowed, and it's very strange. So I don't get it. Republicans need to come out with a platform. But if Donald Trump does this and reschedules marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, it's still illegal. It's not going to be as heavily enforced, but it's still illegal. But it opens up a whole lot of changes for the marijuana industry, and politically, it strips away every argument. The one platform that Democrats have had trying to win over the young generation, it takes all of that away. And I think that's a major big move for the Trump administration. We'll see if it happens. It's supposed to by the end of the week. We'll see whether that's actually the case or not. And I want to get your thoughts. Send me a message at HoosierReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com, or you can send us on our website at Hoosier Media, or our email, HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. We'll cover that as it goes on. Trump allegedly going to be signing it in the next couple days. We'll see. We'll see if he addresses it tonight during his speech that's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern time from the White House. All right, Alex McFarland will shift gears, go into holiday mode when we come back. The culture battle that continues here for the Voice of Reason.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yeah, it is. What's up? Welcome back into it, my friends. Great to have you here for a midweek celebration. Greatest day of the entire week. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. Hey, by the way, you did hear our partnership with Upside, the Upside app. If you have not downloaded it, my listeners alone, it is a 1-week run on this show, which means our promo code is only available this week until Saturday. So do not miss your opportunity. Go and download the Upside app. If you do not know about the Upside app, you get cash back on gas and things that you purchase normally, which is really awesome, which I just used it this week. So go to Upside, download the app, and use the promo code SHARP25. Sharp25, that's SHARP25. It's a 1-week run. That promo does not run past this week. So if you've not done so yet, we really appreciate it. I know you're going into the holiday season. The record number, 220 million people traveling more than 50 miles or more in the next few weeks for the holiday season between December 20th and the beginning of the year. So if you are traveling, why not get cash back on your gas? It's totally free. Completely. It does not charge you a dime, I promise you. Go to the Upside app, download it, and use the promo code SHARP25, SHARP25 for my listeners alone, and that promo code is only active this week, so go and check it out right here on The Voice of Reason. All right. Plenty to talk about. President Donald Trump getting ready for the holiday season. Him making an announcement or a statement just a few days ago about the celebration of Hanukkah.
Well, I'm thrilled to welcome so many good friends to the White House as we celebrate the third night of Hanukkah. Right? Third night. Time flies. Let me take a moment to send the love and prayers to our entire nation, to the people of Australia, and especially all those affected by the horrific and anti-Semitic terrorist attack, and that's exactly what it is, anti-Semitic, that took place on a Hanukkah celebration in Sydney. What a terrible, terrible thing. We don't learn.
Yeah, it's crazy. So him making a statement, I know that now as we get closer to the holiday season, Hanukkah ongoing, we're a week away from Christmas. Right now, the culture battle continues, not just here in the United States, but obviously around the world. The anti-Semitism, the anti-Christian movements that we're seeing, the ongoing religious wars, which is absolutely insane. That's where we go to with our next
What's
guest.
trending today?
Yeah, really happy to have on the program to talk about some of this and more, as he's with the Alex McFarland Ministries. You can find him online, Alex McFarland. He's a youth religion and cultural expert. Alex, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Before we get into some of the issues on the Christian side, the nativity attacks that we've seen, not just here in the country, but around the world, do you have any statement, anything that's, following this jihad, if you want to put it that way, against the Jews celebrating Hanukkah down in Bondi Beach, Sydney, Australia, this open firing that we've seen with the Islamo-fascists wanting to execute Jews. For some reason, we just still think it's okay to just execute people for their political differences. This is kind of wild.
It's tragic, it's wicked, it's evil, and I want to call on not only every freedom-loving American, but I want to call on my fellow clergy of all strata to be on record and categorically condemn anti-Semitism and violence against Jewish people. It is so sad that in this woke world of social justice and diversity and equity for all, it seems like the one racism that gets a pass, and not just mere racism and animosity, but actual violence, vandalism of synagogues, and even killing, like in Australia, but the violence against the precious Jewish people. And, since 9/11, we've heard all of these naive leftist Westerners say that Islam is a religion of peace. That is a lie. Yeah. I've debated imams. I've had a 3-hour conversation with the vice president of CARE. And let me say this. The president should name CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. They should be named a terrorist organization because they are. They have no place in America. They work for the implementation of Sharia law here in America. They hate the Jews. They hate Christians. And so we really, I know a lot of just meek, mild Americans don't want to believe this, but we're in an ideological battle. We really are. And, 2 years ago, the Atlantic.com had an article about the rise of Sharia in America. And, so many people like George W. Bush and, of course, Obama and different talking heads, they'll say Islam is a religion of peace. But even the Atlantic.com said, look, true faithful Muslims do not assimilate. The jihadists are the faithful Muslims. The westernized Muslims are the backsliders. And so, we love all people. We wish no ill to anyone. But worldviews are up for critique, and the Islamic worldview is racist against Jewish people and others, and we cannot let Islam go farther into American life.
Yeah. So, Alex, where is the line of the radicalism within the religion? And the shooting in Bondi Beach is a prime example of this, because we have these radicals that were harming Jews, wanting to kill them, shooting them during a celebration on the beach for their Hanukkah celebration. The guy that de-armed and disarmed one of them by tackling him from behind was another Muslim from Syria that did assimilate to Australia, that loved the country, that didn't want to see this harm. So where's that line of the radicalization? Because obviously, like I said, I mean, there's a line somewhere, like you said, the fundamentalists that say this is the only way and we're going to convert everybody or we're allowed to declare war on them. And then the others that are just like, I think the rest of humanity that are just, hey, do your thing, bro, and we just don't really care. Where's that line right now in the religion?
Well, the line that people are coached to cross are in the mosques and the schools. And, I think about in Texas, the big Islamic center that they're trying to build, and out in Madeira, California, and even in my home state of North Carolina, certainly Dearborn, Michigan, and St. Cloud and Minneapolis. These are hotbeds of Islam, and really they are taught to believe, well, the Quran says that you are to make war on the Jews and the Christians. And so I know many citizens. I know so many of these people. They're of an Islamic background, and they just want to raise their kids and put food on the table. Fair enough. But the clerics and the radicals, especially young men, that believe there will be a worldwide caliphate, and either by submission or by enforcement, the world will be brought under the subjugation of Islam. That will not assimilate with the Western world, which believes in human rights, freedom of religion. Ask people this: is a Muslim free to disconvert if they want to, without fear, without repercussion? Can a Muslim leave Islam? Can a son or a daughter freely, if they choose, leave Islam for another faith like Judaism or Christianity? And it's a yes or no question, and you'll be able to discern. Another diagnostic question that really is the litmus test: ask them, does Israel have the right to exist?
No.
Does Israel have the right to self-defense and self-determination? Because, look, Islam started around 610 A.D. The Jews, the children of Isaac and Abraham, they had been in that land for 4,000 years before the birth of Muhammad and the start of Islam. So ask your Muslim friend, yes or no, does Israel have the right to exist, the right to self-determination, and the right to self-defense? And you'll know right away where they really stand. I mean, assuming they're being forthright in telling you the truth.
Sure. We're talking with Alex McFarland, Alex McFarland Ministries, which you can find his website at alexmcfarland.com. Let's shift gears and let's go to Belgium, and let's go to Brussels for just a moment. There's a story about the beheading of a Jesus baby statue in a nativity scene. Obviously, Alex, the culture war is still ongoing, not just here in the United States, but around the world, that the Jews aren't only the targets of those that are just intolerant and want to try and silence them, but the Christians as well. Is there still a war on Christianity around the world?
I really think there is a war on Christianity around the world. And, spirit of full disclosure, as I have researched it, I think what happened was that the infant was stolen from the nativity. Originally, around the 1st of December, it was reported that the baby Jesus was beheaded. And then they said, no, the figure of the baby Jesus in the nativity was stolen.
Interesting. Okay.
Either one is bad.
Yeah.
But, Christians, and Donald Trump has been careful to point this out. Trump has appointed an international spokesperson for religious freedom, and that's Mark Walker. There are some Senate Democrats that have refused to confirm him, but I hope they soon will. But Trump, as more than really any other president, has pointed out the persecution of Christians around the world, mostly in Islamic countries, But, they're in Brussels and throughout Europe, the birthplace of the Reformation. We're here. America exists because of the Protestant Reformation 508 years ago. But yet now the very same Europe that gave the world the gospel again, faith in Jesus, and really human rights, the abolition of slavery, the rights of women, care of children and the elderly. I mean, the Christian ethic spread globally in the aftermath of Europe's Reformation, and we are all the better for it. And yet right now Europe is overrun with Islam. I mean, it's almost beyond turning back. Even the atheist, Richard Dawkins, said 2 years ago at Christmas, he said, we need this, and Dawkins is an arch atheist. We've debated online. I've debated many of his colleagues.
I tell you what, Alex.
Even Dawkins.
Yeah, hold that thought. I hate to cut you off. I've got to take a hard break here. I want to continue that when we come back. There's a revolution happening right now, and it's interesting to watch. Lots more to come. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yeah, it is. What's up? Welcome back into the program. Got a few minutes left as we wrap things up for a midweek celebration here on The Voice of Reason. It is a Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And that's what we do here on this show each and every day. By the way, if you miss any part of the program, if you want to hear more, if you want to hear it again, you can always go to our website, HoosierReason.com. Find our podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites by just typing in The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. We also have all those links on our website at HoosierReason.com. Real quick, as we get back to our guest, there is some breaking news going on.
What's trending today?
At tip to FoxNews.com on this one, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino has officially announced that he will be leaving the FBI in the month of January after speculation about concerns of his departure, as he did make a post on his social media and his Tweety account saying, quote, I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Donald Trump, AG Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America and all those who defend her. Now, that is sad. I am a big fan of Dan Bongino. I've talked to him many times when he had his radio program. We've had him on this show a few times, and he's a wonderful individual. I don't know what he's going through behind the scenes. I know that there's a lot of old guard, big establishment type of FBI people really putting up a wall and really trying to fight against the new leadership with Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. That is, when we talk about the deep state, that is the deep state. People that just want to keep doing what they're doing, using the secrets of the FBI, not being transparent, wanting to go about and not actually get bad guys, but want to do the bureaucratic political garbage for a political agenda. I get it. That's frustrating. I don't like him leaving. And Dan Bongino, unfortunately, even when with his radio program, if you remember back in the day with Westwood One, the syndicator that had him, he had threatened to leave his radio show and break his contract because of COVID policy that they had implemented during the pandemic. And this is like the third time that he had threatened already in the 10 months he's been in office with the FBI as the deputy director to leave because he was frustrated with the way things were going. And it seems like every time things get a little rough that he threatens to walk away. And now it sounds like he's doing it officially. You committed to it. You're doing a great job. I like what you're doing. I really wish you would stick it out. That's my take. We'll break some more of that down, but that's the breaking news right now. Dan Bongino officially announcing he will be leaving the FBI in January. All right.
What's trending today?
We got a few minutes left here. We're hanging out with Alex McFarland. He's a youth, religion, and cultural expert. We're talking about the cultural war that we're seeing, and I hated to cut you off in that last segment. We were talking about Europe. We're talking about the invasion of Islamists that are taking over Europe. Unfortunately, we see these stories in the UK and in England right now. We see it all the way up in even Ireland, all the way up north. They can continue to spread and changing culture, using their own culture, doing whatever they want to do, and then somehow having protections to be allowed to continue to do what they do. And it's putting other cultures in threat right now. Alex, what do we do about this?
Well, before we resume our conversation, I want to say a big, hear to what you just said about Dan Bongino. He is doing a great job. I do wish he would stay.
Yeah.
And you're right on the money, because there is, as you said, the old guard in the deep state, and there are the Rhino Republicans that don't want change. And, there's no saying good leaders don't just make good decisions. Good leaders make hard decisions.
Yeah.
And, securing the border, deporting illegals, defending the Constitution, reestablishing the rule of law. These things are hard, and some people find it frightening. But I think what Trump and his cabinet are doing to restore, shore up, and save America, it might seem hard, it might seem harsh, but it's absolutely necessary.
It is very necessary. It is a deep state that we knew was going to be a challenge to battle when we went into this, and it's rooted very, very deeply, and I don't know if we're ever going to be able to completely get rid of it, but the small wins, the chipping away of it is necessary, and he's doing a great job. I really hope that he sticks in there and continues to battle this. So that's the news, but
sure,
it doesn't sound like he's going to stick around. Alex, we got just about a minute left here as we wrap things up, but real quick, going into the holiday season, how do we promote our values? How do we promote our culture, and how do we continue to preserve what we're fighting for?
Well, the unique thing about Christianity is even those who don't believe in it or don't even like it do benefit from it. Before the break, I was going to tell you that my atheist friend, Richard Dawkins, even Dawkins is calling for the spread of Christianity in Europe.
Sure.
Because he said it's the only thing that can hold back the two juggernauts of Sharia and socialism.
Yeah.
But here in America, I just would say to everybody listening, it's real. Christ lived, he died, he rose again. He's as close by as a prayer. And Christmas is proof that God loves us and God can be known personally through his son Jesus.
I love it. And we celebrate by that example each and every year, and we lead by example instead of trying to impose it on everybody. We win them over based on that leadership. Alex, Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Got to get you back on again real soon, brother, and Happy New Year to you. We're out of time. Back at it again tomorrow for your pre-Friday. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. We'll see you back on the radio. Bye.